YouTube is changing. Huge creators are seeing their views drop by as much as 50%. But at the same time, a very specific type of creator in some of the most boring niches you can think of are silently building million-dollar businesses. And they're doing it by leading with proof instead of all the usual YouTube advice you've heard 1,000 times. So if you're an expertise-based business owner who's been on the fence about starting a channel, this shift is exactly the opening that you've been waiting for. Today, I'm gonna show you what these creators are doing differently and why the old playbook for businesses on YouTube is not only dead, it's actually hurting your credibility. And then later, I'm gonna give you my exact content stack that over 1,200 of my students are now using to stand out ahead of their competition from day one. All right, so let's start with what's happening right now on YouTube, because this shift didn't come out of nowhere. You know, for years, the playbook for business channels on YouTube was simple. Make easy explainers and how-to videos like 5 things you need to know about X or a beginner's guide to Y. Just general step-by-step walkthroughs. That was how they proved they knew their stuff. And for a long time, that worked. But AI ate the information layer. ChatGPT now has 900 million weekly users, and almost 80% of those conversations are people just asking for the exact kind of how-to advice that businesses were building their YouTube channels on. On top of that, Google's own AI now just summarizes that kind of content right in the search results, so people will get their answer without ever clicking on a video. The information-only layer of every profession is being replaced in real time. And YouTube's algorithm is moving in the same direction. They're actively prioritizing videos that go beyond just the facts. I see this all the time with my own students too. You know, video formats that used to be reliable, the kind of titles you could post and almost guarantee views, are now consistently underperforming across every niche I work in. Now, it's not that the formats got worse, the viewer just doesn't need them the same way anymore. Now, if you're hearing this and thinking, great, you know, so the one strategy everyone told me to use is dead before I even started, hang on, because the thing that replaced it is way better for you, and it's something that you already have. Think about how people actually learn things now. Someone has a question, so they ask ChatGPT or Google AI, and they get a solid answer in about 10 seconds. But for many searches, that's not enough. People want to go deeper than that. So they then go to YouTube and they watch a couple of videos on the topic just to kind of see if the AI was right and to fill in the gaps that it didn't cover. But what do they find there? Every video saying the same thing, the same advice, same framework, same surface level tips that ChatGPT already gave them. So by the second or third video they watch, their brain just checks out. You know, I've heard all this before, and then they leave. So if you're starting a channel right now, this is actually the opportunity of a lifetime because the bar for information content is gone. Your viewer already knows what to do. The real question that you can answer is, what do I do when that doesn't work? So think about the last time you bought anything from IKEA, right? You get the little manual with clean, clear diagrams, and technically it's correct from start to finish. But then you start building and your floor is slanted, so the thing wobbles no matter how closely you follow the steps. Or you stripped a screw hole by tightening too hard and nothing grips anymore. Or the pre-drilled holes don't quite line up and forcing it is gonna crack the particle board. None of those problems are covered in your precious little manual. It assumes you've got a flat floor, perfect parts, and a builder who never makes a mistake. That's what information content is. Technically correct, but practically useless the moment real life doesn't match the diagram. The person you actually need in that moment is the one who's built 200 of those dressers and says,
"This happens all the time, most floors are a little off. And whatever you do, don't force those holes when they don't line up. Run a bar of soap along the screw threads first."
That's experience content, and the fact that he can say this happens all the time, that's proof. That's what makes you trust him. And that's exactly what you have if you've been doing client work for years. You've been on those crooked floors, you've stripped those screws yourself. You know what the manual doesn't say. The old YouTube playbook told you to just make the manual. The new one says to make videos from the perspective of the guy who's built lots of dressers in less than perfect conditions. That's why this shift is your perfect opening, not despite being late to YouTube, but because of it. All your competition who've been making those IKEA manual videos for 3 years now have a library full of content that's losing value every day. But you're starting fresh with the exact thing that YouTube now rewards. And while we're at it, I put my entire system into my unlimited YouTube clients playbook. The link to that is in the description if you want to grab it. But just having experience isn't enough. There are thousands of experienced professionals on YouTube right now. Consultants with over a decade of client work, accountants who filed thousands of returns, and a lot of them are barely getting traction either. That's because experience you can't prove looks exactly the same as no experience at all. Let me show you what I mean. There's a woman named Deborah Neiman who runs a YouTube channel called For the Love of Goats. 20 years ago, she bought some goats because she wanted to make cheese, and unfortunately, they started dying on her. So she spent the next 20 plus years figuring out how to keep them alive. And today she runs a full business off that expertise. Her channel feeds into her courses that she sells. Someone else in her niche would probably just make a video called, how to raise goats for beginners, the IKEA manual version. But she goes deeper. Which medications do the vets prescribe that actually make things worse? Which breeding combinations produce healthier goats? No AI is generating that. No beginner can fake it. She teaches what only 20 years of dead goats can teach you. But here's where a lot of people get this wrong. They think proof is as simple as just saying, I'm an expert, or flashing income screenshots. That's the weakest kind of proof, and now it's actually harmful. That old playbook, it's been so exposed that it just brings out skepticism, not trust anymore. And here's the crazy part, imperfect proof builds more trust than a perfect highlight reel. Research actually shows that sharing honest failures scores 44% higher in credibility. YouTube isn't rewarding people who perform success. It's rewarding the people who lead with real, proven, messy experience. Your scars are the star attraction here. So if you're sitting there thinking that you don't have anything impressive enough to share on YouTube, you're looking at it backwards. Your messy client stories, the mistakes you made early on, the problems that you now can catch in 5 minutes that used to take you weeks, that's the content. All the messiness is what actually makes it credible. And this isn't theory either. There are people building massive businesses right now by doing exactly this in the most boring niches you can think of. Roger Wakefield is a master plumber in Texas with over 40 years of experience, and he started his YouTube channel in 2018 because his plumbing business was failing on him. Now he's got 700,000 subscribers and more work than he knows what to do with in plumbing. And his content isn't, how to unclog a drain, it's which drain cleaners will destroy your pipes even though the label says they're safe, and what a $200 repair turns into when you ignore it for 6 months. This is the stuff that only 40 years of being inside people's homes can teach you. And the proof is right there on camera every time he pulls out a destroyed pipe out of a wall and shows you exactly why it failed. And I have a student named Kayla who just started this channel a few months ago that helps freelancers make more money on the Upwork marketplace. When she first started, she was making videos like Upwork rates for beginners and Upwork contracts explained, the kind of stuff that ChatGPT could probably handle in a few seconds. But then pretty early on, she made a bit of a shift. So she started making videos from her actual experience. Like, if I had to start over on Upwork, my exact plan, worst Upwork jobs to avoid, and stop wasting connects on Upwork. And you'll notice that the videos where she teaches from what she learned doing Upwork for years from her own scars are now her top performers by a mile. None of these people are in a glamorous niche, yet they're all thriving on YouTube because their content proves they've done the work. And that proof is what's gonna turn a viewer into a client, whether you've got 300 subscribers or 1 million. Whether you've been doing what you do for 5 years or 40. So how do you actually build your content this way from the start? I came up with what I call the SCAR scale. Now, this is how you create real content from your scars, not just from scripts. Most professionals who start on YouTube default to making content at the 2 most basic levels. And those 2 levels are exactly where AI can replace you before you even post your first video. The content that gets clients lives at 2 deeper levels that most people never even touch. So let me walk you through all 4 so you can see the difference. S is for surface. This is pure information only content. Let's say you're a web designer. So this might be a video called 5 things every high converting website needs. This is the Googleable layer. And it's also what ChatGPT answers perfectly. So if someone can get the same answer from AI in 30 seconds, You're at an S level here. C is for competence. In other words, how does this actually work in practice? These are videos where you show the process, right? A screen share of you building a homepage layout, walking through your wireframing process in real time. It's better than level 1 because you're showing, not just telling, but any qualified designer could give the same walkthrough. You're just building that IKEA dresser on a perfectly flat floor in a well-lit studio. Useful, yes. Replaceable, also yes. So the S and the C here are the IKEA manual. That's the default for most people starting a channel. But what comes next is where the clients live. A is for adversity. In other words, when does this break and what did you do about it? So this is the web designer who says,
a client came to me after spending 15 grand on a site that looked incredible and got 0 leads. I've seen this exact pattern at least 30 times now. Here's the section I add that fixes it every time.
The specific client situation, the specific pattern from doing the work, the number of times you've seen it. That's proof baked directly into the content. You'll learn this from doing the work, not from reading about it. And finally, R is for reframe. These videos answer why most people get this completely wrong and what to focus on instead. So the web designer would say here,
everyone obsesses over homepage design, but after building 200 client sites, I can tell you the page that actually makes or breaks your revenue is one most businesses don't even have.
That's not just a tip, that's a complete reframe of how someone thinks about their website. That takes years of pattern recognition. No AI can generate it, no beginner can fake it. And the depth of proof saying after 200 client sites is what gives it its authority. So if S and C are the IKEA manual, A and R is the person who built the 200 dressers on 200 different crooked floors. If your content lives at A and R, you have no real competition because nobody else has your lived experience. Your scars are your own and no one else has earned them except for you. Now, I'm not saying every video you make needs to live at the 2 deepest levels. Any healthy growing channel still needs that top level content too. Those videos target search phrases and bring new people in the door. And some of your most serious potential clients actually would want a human to explain a simple concept or to watch you walk through a process. They want to see how you think, how you lay things out, or whether your approach feels right for their situation. And that's an example of C-level content doing real work for your business. I'm just saying don't stop there. You want to layer your scars into it. So when you're making that S-level video about the 5 things every website needs, drop in a client story, reference the pattern that you've seen over and over again. Mention the thing that the steps don't prepare you for. Just one real experience woven into an otherwise informational video changes everything about how it lands. So think of the scar scale less like 4 boxes you pick from and more like a dial. The further you turn it toward the bottom, the harder your content's going to be to replicate, and the faster your viewers turn into clients. Even turning that dial just 1 click down makes your content something that AI can't touch. So now you know what kind of content to make. The next question is how it all fits together, because the scar scale is one piece of a bigger system. What to make, how to get found, how to turn viewers into actual clients, and how to do it all without burning yourself out. And I put that whole system into one free downloadable resource called the Unlimited YouTube Clients Playbook. It's the same system that 1,200 of my students are running right now. Step by step, no fluff. Click right here or in the description below and you're gonna have a clear plan for your whole first year on YouTube. Download it right here and I'll see you next time.